Welcome on back to Comic Book Karaoke. It is a re-narrative, if that's a word, I like making up words, a re-narrative of the socio-political conversations that are surrounding fandom in and around, say, the world of the super subculture of geekdom and well, I say geeks just everywhere here and alike, right? It is myself. I was going to say, oh, it is Chris Jordan. He's here, man. He's arrived. I'm your resident geek that's going to be taking you through a couple of conversations that are really awesome and definitely a reason for you to keep on watching. Subscribe, share this and enjoy as much as I can, as I know that you are going to too. We are returning with part two. You are in part two. I am in part two. I'm here in this kind of miniverse with Michelle Huxtable and the conversation about intoxicated cultures and subcultures within the fan space. It is a great place to start because our narrative from here continues into tolerance and as well as kind of that exploration that we really need to and want to include as part of our our journeys ourselves as growing geeks and just having some fun, right? So Michelle is back and I want to go straight into the conversation that we're having with her in part one. Just in case, I must put now some reserves in there to please people, just in case we come to and maybe we turn here and maybe I say this and maybe they say that and that makes me like want to vomit.
No, I feel that.
I'm saying to like, God, you said earlier about with the commercial guys. So we extend the universe, we extend obviously the geekdom and the fascination with it, and they're coming there because they know that when you go now as an external now, so an outsider, right? So they're coming here dressing up as Iron Man and they've been already drawn in by the interest. And now we must now say, but do you know, like his middle name when he was in school, and then be like, Suga. You know what I'm saying to you?
No,
like,
definitely.
It's one of those things that make you go, why did I waste it for the 3-day ticket?
Yeah. So it's a very interesting way. For example, like with when I did my Slave Leia for Star Wars, I love Slave Leia. I wanted to do her costume ever since I was a kid. I know that's a weird thing to say.
No, it's not.
It's Slave Leia. She's in a metal bikini, and I've been wanting to do that since I was like young. So
Slave Leia,
metal bikini and
that big dude, that's gross.
Yeah. And then also I got a little bit of fan shame. That's where I got fan shamed that I can remember, where there was a Jabba the Hutt, and I was just thinking there was someone who had the Jabba the Hutt inflatable costume, and I was like, we like posed and did some photos and everything, and then I was like, I just want to mess around and get a photo for me, and I did I think it's the Falcon sign for Star Trek, and there's a huge issue between Star Wars and Star Trek people, and I was just like,
but how could you? No, really.
How could I?
No, why would you go and like
because
just
I'm
like
a villain and I just wanted to mess with people.
Well done.
It was a personal thing for me. I thought it was funny. I loved it. So and then I posted it and I was just like, how cool is this? Like this is a joke for joke purposes. I'm sorry if this offends people. And everyone was just like, how dare you? And I was just like, and then you started getting fan shame for other things, because I've got very wide hips. I'm not a very skinny person, so they're like, oh no, like she's fat and this and this. I was like, guys, seriously, like there's a whole other thing to go and like rant about that I can actually change. I've got wide hips, dude. Like, what do you want me to change? Do you want me to go get the bone shaved?
Yeah, these hips don't lie.
They don't lie.
But
yeah, basically at the end of the day, the fan shaming mostly comes from people who you don't fit what they want. And that's the problem with the community. Yes, you can go and investigate and learn every single name, but because you're a woman or because you're plus size, because you're too skinny, because you're a different color, what's his name with Ariel? Technically, she should be like almost transparent because they live in Atlantis at the bottom of the sea. Exactly, But everyone got upset when she was black. And I was just like, she's a mer person, they could be whatever color that they want to be. Like, oh, they're just basing it because it's from a Norwegian thing, and Walt Disney, we all know, is racist, so he went for a white person. Like,
damn, I like the House of Mouse, but just because they are a conglomerate and they're just.
Oh yes, so
it's like it's
Disney.
The animated Nazis.
There's no bad prejudice towards Disney. We love Disney. Please don't pull our video down. It's also a lot to do with the Mystique cosplays, because a lot of cosplayers would go and they would do a bodysuit, or they would go and they'd get their skin painted. Body painting, that's what it's called. You can fan shame me for that. Yeah. I don't know what it's called. How dare I? So pretty much, they either wear a bodysuit and they've got body paint on, and they were harassed. And if there was someone who was slightly overweight, or even just overweight or plus size or whatever, if they weren't exactly what Mystique was, it was an issue. And if you weren't, I can't remember what her name is. I think she had the violet weapons.
Who, Electra?
No, that's from Psylocke.
Oh, Psylocke. Oh, I love her, but she's a bit basic.
Shame me in the comments, okay? I love X-Men, but I'm not a huge geek of X-Men, so you can fan shame me in the comments.
Hashtag sorry not sorry.
Sorry not sorry.
Right. The thing is also, you know what? While you were saying that, I was envisioning. So there's this person. I'm not going to say now. So this woman that comes as Mystique now. About 5 years later, she's gained, let's say, 20 pounds, and she wants to still go as Mystique. But she was the one. I don't know. Just okay, 20 kilos. Yeah, is a lot more. But my thing is, it's the notion of she loves Mystique. Yeah. But she was the one criticizing before. She was like, there's a love handle. I know Mystique not to be like that. Now she comes and she's like sitting in the mirror thinking, but why was I ravaging?
Yeah, but now, see, the funny thing about Mystique is that she's a shapeshifter. Oh. That is the thing that annoys me the most, is that she's a shapeshifter. She could be anything she wants to. Yeah. Come on, if she wants to be plus size, you can be. That's why she's the greatest thing to go in cosplay, regardless of size, regardless of color, because she's blue. You just have to paint yourself.
Well, and that's also just a discussion completely for another day as well.
At the end of the day, with her, people will go and they'll evolve and they'll grow and they'll look back on themselves and they'll be like, I shouldn't have done that, or shouldn't have been that toxic. Being in the cosplay community for 3 years, I dressed up beforehand for myself and stuff like that, but I've only really been immersed in the cosplay community for the past 3 years. And I've learned so much since then. I used to walk in and be like, oh no, that's inaccurate, but I'm walking around with an inaccurate cosplay myself. And you fan shame because you have these expectations and you're like, this is how it's supposed to be, and you're not doing it. And I felt ashamed myself for not having a complete cosplay. Okay. But the thing is, you look at it and you're like, I would prefer if the Mystique was more movie accurate or comic book accurate. Yeah. But at the end of the day, someone really loves that character and they wanted to cosplay that character, and she loved that character so much that time, and looking back and her gaining that, it's a whole journey you go on yourself, and it could either be a positive journey or a negative journey.
I want to kind of close the discussion on the impact of social media. So we're having the situations where the cyberbullying is happening to a point where it's harassment, but you can't actually go to the police with it, should I say. And we know that there's a cyberbullying from the FBI. The FBI actually do that, and that's
South Africa. But there's more private investigators that do have a cyberbullying division and stuff like that.
Yeah, and do you know, can you share some light on should you be at that point where people actually, because now why must I leave my account? Yeah. But it's just I can't take. Everyone is affected by an insult or a jab or whatever it is, and how do we go around that?
So okay, there are the right streams to go through where you go and you report it through the app, but that doesn't really do much, as it's proved. You can. If it's someone's threatening your life, I definitely say, listen, go and get that investigated. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be someone that doesn't like you or what you've done, and it's a part of displaying your art. It's something that you all have to face, and sounds really horrible, but you have to grow that thick skin and not read the comments. You can turn the comments off and, sorry.
No, don't apologize. So it's just a train of thought there. And well, how do we, because we need resolution here. We can talk till like I say, the elephant in the room turns visible. But the truth of the matter is, this is about progression. That's the thing. So next time when you do go to a festival, like, can you just, and you know what I'm saying to you, and when you are on the web and on the interweb, right? Can you just, like, what is it that needs to stop today?
It's pretty much just people need to monitor themselves. They need to go, yes, you can go and have an opinion. That is great. But you, as a person, it takes a lot for you to go, okay, that person's fat or that person's too skinny to do that. And then take that as an action, type it into the comment section. They need to stop that. That is, everyone's always going, oh no, the person needs to go and turn off their comments, or they need to not read their comments. But the people who are leaving the comments need to also do something. They need to monitor themselves. And at the end of the day, you can also, when you're at a con, if someone comes up to you and be like, oh, you're not accurate and I'm going to gatekeep the hell out of you, you can be like, oh, that's nice, and you can walk away from them.
I was thinking punch them, but then you see, you get and go to jail first.
As long as they, you know what? Just don't hear this from me, but as long as they throw the first punch,
yes,
then
that's what I meant. You go to jail first. I know. You know what I'm saying to you? This mouth has gotten me enough.
Most events and most events and conventions and things, they have security walking around that you can walk up to them and saying, hi, sorry, someone is harassing me. Please, can you like escort them or just, you know, keep them away from me? And most of the time they will. I mean, a lot of cosplayers do have that. We also get like those neck bands where we say, listen, we don't want to take photos right now. And people still go past that and they like fan shame. They're like, oh, but you dress up this character, you want to have photos taken. You'd be like, honey, I'm a human. I want to eat. I want to drink. I want to sit down. I'm tired. I want to take my wig off. I got a wig headache. No, wig headaches are a real thing. Hey, like.
No. I'm literally only, and that's in episode 3 with the drag culture. But I'm hoping to get a wig headache on in episode 3.
Good luck.
I'm excited.
A wig caps are very nice.
I want to get to that point where I'm like, like this, you know, with like a smoke.
Yeah. I've actually got a perfect thing of me and half of my no face where I've just taken the mask off and I'm sitting there with like a side and I'm just like, I can't. I just need to breathe.
She noted from the day.
My name is Brian Bolland. I'm a comic book artist. Wonderful. Well, the first work I did in print was not comic book work. I did an illustration for Time Out magazine. You know, you've got Time Out here, haven't you? But you know, years before then, we would get our work printed in fanzines, and so the first thrill we had was actually getting our work in print at all, because back in those days it wasn't actually very easy to get your work printed. It was a real treat to see it you know, reproduced in some way. But my first professional comic book work was in 1975, a thing called Power Man, and I was too tired, really, from the deadlines to really get a real thrill out of it. But I think I enjoy getting the check better. A pencil or an eraser. I use a Series 7 number 3 Winsor & Newton brush to ink with. And I guess that's it. I mean, I use Frisk film for a bit of masking out. I'd use a toothbrush occasionally with, I'd use Rotring drawing Indian ink, which I'd water down a little bit because it was too thick. So that's pretty much basically what I had. Bristol board, the board I used Letratone, which I think you called Zippertone, didn't you, over here? So that was about it, really. Well, your goal is to tell the story as clearly as possible. Also to create a few sort of scenes that really kind of pop out at the viewer, if possible. To scare them when it's necessary. Why on earth was I doing it? I think was the where's the artwork? Why on earth would I possibly want to do that? Was really the most common question I'd be asked. I've been doing it for 13 years completely on the computer. Okay. Because it's better, really. There's just whole lists of things that are better on a computer. You know, the fact that you can undo what you've just done, the fact that you know, when you're not committed to anything that you've done, you can change it. You can put another layer over the top and draw over what you've done. Just numerous things you can do on a computer. I seem to do quite a lot of conventions. I've been to 2 in the States this year, and to be quite honest, I come here to draw. I don't really enjoy. I mean, it's nice to meet friends. You know, I've got a few people I've known in the business for a long time. It's good to get together with them. That's really it, really.
Okay, so super excited. This is our first comic book historical moment. I picked the Age of Apocalypse for a reason. One, I absolutely love Apocalypse. He's one of my top 3 villains of just kind of all time within the Marvel space. Him alongside with Mojo, with Venom. I actually have a couple more. What am I saying? Top 3 anyway. But yeah, Apocalypse has just always been someone that's just fascinated me, just because he's pure evil. And you know, the Age of Apocalypse is an arc that had a lot of historical moments, just in terms of what was happening in the background. So a little bit of insight as to where this all began, or this all began. Sorry, there goes my English for a moment. Okay, so this all began where Marvel decided to just announce that the X-Men franchise was going to be suspended for kind of like indefinitely, or for a couple of months. Either kind of was the same to both the fans, but even more so to the artists and the storytellers who didn't know what was happening. They pulled it back, and Bob Harris, who was the head of development and creative development, went and decided to sit down. I don't know whether it was having coffee or alcohol, it doesn't really matter, and tell everyone, listen, we're going to go into a completely different space. Every artist is going to have kind of like free reign, right, in being able to create a story that is going to not have a singular line of reference or point or whatever it may be, but instead is going to combine a whole bunch of just experimental journeys that the artists and the storytellers, excuse me, need to take and should take. Again, there was a lot of chaos within the studios themselves, within those 4 walls. And as the story started to develop, the artists felt a sense of liberation in their creation of, you know, some brand new, I say characters, things like, you know, we were first introduced to Blink, and we saw Sabretooth, for example, just change, you know, 180 into a good guy, and we had everyone kind of from that X-Men universe just filter in. Again, people like Mojo all of a sudden just like having a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of cameo as he is, you know, and it was super great. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to see what Michelle has to say about this huge and historical moment in comic book history.
And I think the fans also really loved it because, I mean, I'm not much of I'm a casual X-Men's fan, but I even enjoyed it because even just watching the movies growing up and then doing the research and reading the comic for today's episode, you know, it was so organic to see how they just work with each other, because growing up you always go, oh no, how's this character going to interact with this one, and how they're going to do this, and you know, or is there going to be like any issues and stuff, and it worked so well. And if there was conflict, there was good conflict, and it wasn't just forced, and I think that's what they did so well with the comic. Like, fans complain because they get what they want, but then you might not just do it exactly how they want, and there's like that small little moment there that they wanted it to be this, when you're just like, you can't please everyone. Like Harry Potter, he goes to school, he gets tormented by Voldemort, and school ends, they don't write exams, there's a whole this thing, and then, you know, goes back home. You know, it's just like, it's a regeneration, and then after like the 4th or 5th book, you kind of just go, okay, it was good. Yeah. But like, you know, I know what's going to happen. And at least with the last books, they did change it up a bit. Yeah. But like, that's also the thing now where they're bringing in the new generation of the mutants. And I was excited for that. And then it just also just went. And I like the fact that they also brought the comic book when they did the movie editions.
Yeah.
They brought the comic books, and like Wolverine's like, what is this? And I think it's good because you can't take the last generation of characters to the new generation, because there's so many different things that the people will like, they'll do. If you go and you see how they've changed, I'm trying to think of one character where they've changed it and they've brought it out to new. I mean, you can also look at the evolution of the Spider-Man characters.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire is very different to Peter Parker, Peter Parker.
I was
To
going to say
Tom Holland, yeah, but Tom Holland, and very different from Andrew Garfield.
Yeah.
But they went through that, and then they showed with different generations, and as people grew up, they had different things, and they explored different villains and stuff like that, and I think that's so important. And I like the fact that they, you know, with even the casual fans like myself, where they were like, okay, cool, we're finishing off with this timeline of all the mutants and everyone that we know and love, because who's going to replace Hugh Jackman? Fighting within the mutants, where they were like, okay, cool, well, I want to just go and live with the normal people.
Yeah.
And then you also got some of the mutants who were like, no, we're like superior and we should actually kill all the people. And I'm just like, why not just coexist? Because at the end of the day, even if you are the superior race or the subservient race, you know, just you're here together, live together, don't go and cause issues. If anything, you just really cool because you can go and make it ice and stuff. You can go ice skating whenever you want. You can go and make friends like that.
All right, so okay, Joe. So I'm going to do my own man cave invasion, and it is, it's quite a. There's my buddy. Look at my buddy. Donatello in the background. I got more turtles. There's turtles everywhere, and it's like my man cave. So I think I started building it like 4 years ago. Obviously started with like my collection that I had as a kid. And I'll show you some of that now with some of the Thundercats and Dino Riders and the turtles, obviously. Turtles everywhere. And it's just one of those places where when I put it together, and we got some Rihanna playing in the background. All right. When I put it together, it was so awesome because it was obviously, as we know, like everyone kind of thrives off their own personal space, and it's just a personal spot as well that I completely made into a sponsor shop with a bunch of toys and stuff. So a bunch of collectibles all across, in and out, and I'll show you some of them now. But as I was saying, so when I started, I actually did not have a lot of income coming in, but I really needed the space. So it was in a bit of a low in my life, and I thought, you know what, that's okay. You can get through stuff, as I always have, as we always do. And I wanted to personalize it a lot with my own art. I'm gonna shift the camera around. And the big thing was, and let me just shift the camera around now. Give me a second. All right, so I'm going to just kind of step back here, try to get a little bit of a larger, as far as I can actually kind of go. So when I started putting together this little man cave of mine, you can't really see it now. I intended something very different for that. So that's my sketch of Venom made completely humongous, right? And I didn't really think I was going to land up with a bit of a sponsor shop of stuff. Yeah, I like the lies I tell myself. So I built that first, and again, also just wanted to create the space where it doesn't even matter if I sit on the floor. I come in and I even put on my really old PC, which is like right under all those turtles. Pull that down. This is something from way back when Windows 7 was actually a thing. I started just playing emulators. It's kind of empty in here as well. Just the space itself, I cannot go on about the space itself. It's just super awesome to be sitting here and looking back at my entire kind of like life as a geek, so starting with my Thundercats over here, where I had to buy some, but they're all pretty much like they're played with love. They were you can see a lot of the weapons are missing, but everyone's kind of there. Also, just see the kind of the size of these figurines compared to like what we kind of come down to. And I love all my TMNT. This was my first love over here, and getting some quality stuff, man. Just huge figurines over there. I moved over also to Dino Riders. A bit of my collection is just gone, and this was my Taurosaurus. Oh man, like just reminds my mom and my dad giving me these massive gifts. He did a lot of walks with me through the garden. Does not walk anymore because of that. And then I moved to, well, the turtles, you know. So these four brothers here are everything. They're just everything that I need in, well, look at that, you know. Going on. It's the 87 collection. It's 2003. Got some beautiful knockoffs over there of the 84 NECAs. Some great releases in 2012, but also again some of the originals. So let's go like this before we mess up the zoom or view or angle. Got me some 2018 in there as well, and just a whole bunch of in between. So this was really cool. I love this. Thanks Tian. So a little 3D printed Krang, and also obviously crafted, painted, beautiful, nice, really cool. And obviously some DC in there, some super die cast stuff. My Marvel villains, like Marvel villains, some Thanos, Apocalypse, Rhino, Juggernaut, getting in there. Oh, look at my header. That's amazing. Also gifted, really nice. That's so lucky. I have no idea why, but we've been so generous. So if I move around here, things that were gifted. This super cool Donatello from Juan. Check this out. So I had a stroke. I don't know why I emphasized that like I was in a hip hop video, but anyway, so I had a stroke 3 years ago, and friends of mine, Alzette and Monty, made and gave this. How cool is this? Life isn't about falling, it's about getting up every time that you fall. But this is better than anything that I have ever seen on Amazon or the NECA store or whatever it is. This is great stuff, and it's just super cool. And I've got quite a lot of these great, you know, customized or whatever it is, like gifted stuff here. Well, like literally as I'm talking to you here, my sister made these like customized Krang shoes. Krang is like my absolute favorite character in any cartoon or comic multiverse. Dylan from, what is it, Salty Squid. This is so great. I like you begging. Do it again. It's awesome voice. Again, my sister. Look at this amazing picture. Stan the man. It's immaculate. It's literally him. It's like, I mean, like Stan, you know, the man, the legend. This is super cool. So my sister got this when she was traveling. An actual print, like a storyboard print, the print, should I say, from the Pinocchio 1961, I think it was. That's super awesome. I'm going to say super and awesome, maybe not together, but at the same time, I don't know, many times. A little bit of Funkos. I love my knockoffs as well. So that look at those. I mean, that's like, you know, knockoffs, but these are cool as well. Knockoffs over here, knockoffs over there. Unpunched, April O'Neil, unpunched Zach. This is my holy grail. One of my holy grails is Mr. Krang over here. Look at that. Oh, man. So awesome. So just a quick one. So before I actually go and move to the Pietro Resistance, I decided, well, the big thing for me was obviously including my own artwork, which is like kind of looking a bit naff there, because just the age, and I just like draw them and I put them on. You know, customize that little arcade game here with all the greats. I mean, these are the great. Look at that Rygar. Look at Rygar. Oh my word. Oh my word. So this is where this is where I spend the money on. I could care less about a car. I mean, I've got a great car. It's fine. It works. It goes where it needs to go. But this is the stuff, man. We're going to put this on so we can sing along, man. Well, what? You know, obviously the emulators. I mean, it's emulators built into a machine. You can go get them at Comic Book Warehouse, I think. Let's go. Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power, let's go. This is our finished games. With multiple credits. Let's go. Come on, go.
Fire! Hang on, April.
Hang on, April. Oh my God. Yes. This is life, man. This is like me at 10 years old, walking blocks and blocks and blocks and blocks, I mean, in the road, with a bunch of like 20-cent coins. And like there'd be this line of kids, eh? Just line up behind this like 4-player arcade machine where the turtles were everything, man. That is my walkthrough of my little man cave. And it's just it's just one of those things where I just that, you know. How amazing. Who's flesh? Okay, that's just normal for me. All right. Anyway, so this has been the first episode of Comic Book Karaoke. It is where you and I get to connect about kind of like everything that has to do with fandom and super geek culture that is relevant within the 2020s. Thank you so much for joining me for the first episode. It's been super fun, and thank you again to Michelle Huxtable for being our super geek and taking us through this journey. Well, I'm going to give you a little bit of a throw forward to what is happening in episode 2, female representation. You'd think we've actually gotten somewhere. I know it's going to kind of sound that I'm complaining all the time, not really. It's just kind of the truth. I'm going to give you a little bit of a teaser. You know that just recently DC has or did, they actually cut down all their female lead lines in their comic books down to 4. And this was a humongous and a kind of a very disappointing representation for where the mind space was in 2021, man. 2021, ending large I say character arcs like Harley Quinn and throwing out Batgirl. It was crazy, and so we're going to be talking about that. And our guest super geek will be Michelle Aiden. That's going to be cool. I'm going to end off with a little bit of a cliche or a little bit of something that's going to be, I say, may your force be always with you. And when I say that, I mean just be strong, man. Just be great, have a good time. Enjoy your comics, enjoy yourself, enjoy the culture around us wherever you are, and I will see you there.